Good afternoon, children. Welcome back to English class. In previous video, we have seen how the Galileo became the professor for life at the University of Padua, and also we have seen about his invention and discoveries and how they helped him to become the greatest, I can say here, the greatest astronomer. So today, let us continue with the next part of the lesson. And before we start, again we have some meanings for the day. So let us begin with the meanings here. First one is realize. Realize. It means understand. Realize means understand. Next one, kneel. Kneel. It means sit on one's knees. Sit on one's knees. Next we have got unbeliever. Unbeliever. It means one who does not believe in God. One who does not believe in God. Last meaning is inquisition. Inquisition. It means the organization set up by the Roman Catholic Church to punish people who opposed its beliefs. Again, Inquisition means the organization set up by the Roman Catholic Church to punish people who opposed its beliefs. Let us continue with the lesson now. Yes, children, sixth paragraph now. The first telescope that Galileo made magnified objects 3 times their size. The first telescope that Galileo made magnified objects 3 times their size. Later, he made one that magnified them 8 times. Later, he made one that magnified them 8 times. But he went on working on larger and larger ones. But he went on working on larger and larger ones until he made a telescope which brought objects 30 times nearer. Until he made a telescope which brought objects 30 times nearer. Next paragraph now. With the aid of this telescope, with the help of this telescope, he made important discoveries about the heavenly bodies. With the help of the magnified telescope, he made important discoveries about the heavenly bodies. He found that the planet Jupiter had little moons, moons that revolved round it. That revolved round it. He found that the sun had spots on it. He found that the sun had spots on it, and the spots slowly moved across its face. The spots slowly moved across its face. He found from this that the sun like the earth spins round itself. Yes, children, it's very important information here. 7th paragraph. With the aid of this telescope, he made important discoveries about the heavenly bodies. With the help of this improved telescope, he made important discoveries about the heavenly bodies. He found that the planet Jupiter had little moons. He found that the planet Jupiter had natural satellites which revolved around the Jupiter. He also found that the sun had spots on it, and that the spots slowly moved across its face. He found from this that with this observation, that is, the spots moved across the sun's face. With this observation, he concluded that he found from this that the sun, like the earth, spins round itself. Next paragraph now. 8th paragraph now. Some 50 years earlier, a Polish astronomer called Copernicus had declared that the earth was a planet. Like the other planets. And that like them, it revolved round the sun. Copernicus could not, however, prove this to the men of his day. Copernicus could not, however, prove this to the men of his day, and few people paid any great attention to his ideas. Yes, children, some 50 years earlier to the Galileo's discoveries, Copernicus, a Polish astronomer, had already declared that the earth is also a planet, and like other planets, even earth revolved around the sun. But unfortunately, Copernicus could not prove this because there was no invention of the telescope. Concentrate. Copernicus could not, however, prove this to the men of his day, and few people paid any great attention to his ideas. So people, as he could not prove this, people of his day could not believe in his idea. Next paragraph now, that is ninth paragraph. Galileo was the first great student of astronomy to realize. See the meaning of realize? Realize means understand. Galileo was the first great student of astronomy to realize that the ideas of Copernicus were true. The ideas of Copernicus were true. And the first scholar to begin to teach them at the university. His new teaching caused great excitement among the learned men. His new teaching caused great excitement among the learned men because it meant that all their teaching was completely wrong. Because it meant that all their teaching was completely wrong. Yes, children, until then, the people, the learned men, believed that the earth is in the center. But now, Galileo started teaching that the sun is in the center and earth revolved around the sun. So, his new teaching caused great excitement among the learned men because it meant that all their teaching was completely wrong. They began to oppose him. And many of them became his enemies. Then he got into trouble with the church. His ideas about the sun and the earth. Were different from what the Bible seemed to say. So the followers of the church began to look upon him as a wicked and dangerous man. So the followers of the church began to look upon him as a wicked and dangerous man. So yes, children, 10th paragraph now. The church had in those days a court called the Inquisition, which tried and punished those that it considered unbelievers. See the meaning of Inquisition? Inquisition means the organization set up by the Roman Catholic Church to punish people who opposed its beliefs. So the church in those days had an organization called a court called Inquisition, and it tried and punished those that it considered unbelievers. See the meaning of unbelievers? One who does not believe in God. Galileo was asked to appear before this court. So Galileo was called before this court. He was questioned about his beliefs. He was questioned about his beliefs, about his discoveries, about his teachings, and was asked to kneel and declare. See the meaning of kneel? Kneel means sit on one's knees. And Galileo was asked to kneel and declare that he no longer believed that the earth moved round the sun. Yes, as he was teaching that the sun is in the center, he was asked to declare that he no longer believed that the earth moved round the sun. He knew that if he refused to make this declaration, he might be put in prison. And perhaps tortured. So he knew that if he will not make the declaration as per the court, he would be sent to the jail and given punishment. As he feared torture, Galileo obeyed their order. There is a story that as he rose from his knees after his public declaration, he whispered to himself, but still it does move. Yes, he declared that his beliefs are wrong because of the fear of the torture and the punishment. And as he rose from his knees, he said himself slowly that but still it does move. The court ordered Galileo not to teach. His wicked ideas anymore. Last paragraph now, children. But Galileo did not obey the church's orders for long. He continued his studies, and after a time started teaching his ideas again. Besides, he wrote a book in which he criticized the old beliefs. When the book came out, the Inquisition once again ordered him to appear before it. The Inquisition once again ordered him to appear before it, to be tried as a non-believer. To be tried as a non-believer. After a long trial, he was sent to prison. But as he was now an old man, he was allowed to go home 22 days later. He was allowed to go home 22 days later. Yes, children. See, as the court, that is Inquisition, had ordered him, church had ordered him not to teach his ideas anymore, not to teach his wicked ideas anymore, Galileo could not stop himself for a longer. He again started his studies and also his teachings. Besides this, he wrote a book in which he criticized the old beliefs. For this, again, Inquisition ordered him to appear before it. And this time, after a long trial, he was sent to the prison. But as he was old, he was sent to home back after 22 days. This is how the lesson ends here, children. This is all about the Galileo and his discoveries and his invention and his teachings, also about his studies and how he went on teaching as well as studying astronomy. So thank you for watching the video.